The OnePlus 3T. This is one of my favorite phones from 2016, and it proved you didn't have to spend an absolute fortune, £600, $700 to get a great flagship spec phone. But while all the hype now may be around the LG G6 and Galaxy S8 and the still awesome Google Pixel, for me, the OnePlus 3T is still a great choice, even in 2017. So with the OnePlus 3T, you get a 5.5-inch Full HD screen, a Snapdragon 821 processor, and a whopping, if slightly ridiculous, 6GB of RAM under the hood, all for less than £400 or $500 right now, which is fantastic value for money. And when you consider this has the same processor and even more storage and more RAM than the brand new LG G6, well, clearly the 3T still has legs even in 2017. Now, of course, the G6, like the Galaxy S8 and other 2017 flagships, have thinner bezels, better screen-to-body ratios, fancy HDR screens in some cases, and maybe even better cameras. And while, like many of you, I may end up splurging on an S8, possibly if it's any good, when it comes out, by that point I'm confident the 3T will be not far off half the price. But having said all that, while this is a great phone, it isn't perfect. The camera is really good, but in my experience I don't think it's quite as good as the Galaxy S7 or my current smartphone favourite, the Google Pixel, especially in low light. And the battery's inconsistent, let's just say. It usually lasts me a full working day, but not a whole lot more. And it's probably my biggest single issue with the phone. I do find myself closing apps a bit more often to make sure it does last that full day. But while there is certainly room for improvement, I still think it's a terrific phone. It's got the performance to breeze through any game or app you throw at it from the Play Store. It's got a beautiful thin metal design that actually reminds me of the old HTC One M7. I love that phone. It's also got the latest Android 7 Nougat software, a future-proofed USB-C port with fast charging support, and of course that big, vibrant 5.5-inch screen. There's an awful lot to like here. As for long-term use, well, I've used various 3Ts over the past few months, and I found that the metal body here, as nice as it does look, can scratch reasonably easily over time, so I would recommend putting a case on it. But the tricky thing is, while it's easy to see the value against the high-end 2017 flagships, the 3T does become harder when you consider you can get the Galaxy S7, which I conveniently have right here, on Amazon right now for around £420 or $450, about 30 more than the OnePlus 3T. And this is where it comes a bit harder to recommend. They each have their strengths. The OnePlus 3T runs on Oxygen OS, currently at 4.0.3, along with Android 7, whereas the Galaxy S7, also on Android Nougat, uses their own TouchWiz skin, which for many people will be the one reason you actually want to go for the 3T. It's also got more storage and a bigger screen. The S7, on the other hand, fits more comfortably in my hand with a 5.1-inch screen. It's got a nicer camera, much better in low light due to its wider f1.7 aperture. It's also got a higher resolution Quad HD screen with a Super AMOLED panel, so the screen does look a bit better on the S7. The 3T also isn't water resistant, unlike the Galaxy S7, which is a bit of a shame. But the fact is, there isn't a huge amount of difference between them, and really it comes down to brand loyalty or whichever size of phone you prefer. But to the question of whether you should still consider buying the OnePlus 3T in 2017, this has been out for a few months now, well, honestly, if I had unlimited money, I would go out and buy the Pixel XL or possibly the upcoming Galaxy S8. But money is a factor, a big factor, for pretty much all of us. And so with value in mind, I do definitely recommend 3T even now. And having just reviewed the Huawei P10, conveniently I have one here, which is £600, €650, 200 more than the OnePlus 3T. Well, as nice as this is, as positive as I am in my review about it, I know which one I go for. £200 difference. Now, just to be clear, this isn't a sponsored video or anything. I'm not being paid by OnePlus to say any of this. I just think their approach to offering good value products is refreshing in a phone market that's getting more and more expensive without honestly offering anything hugely innovative these days. To be fair though, 400 quid for this is still very expensive for most people, but the fact is you're getting a phone with the specs pretty much of one of these for 200 less, which in my opinion, and I'm sure you'll agree, makes it great value for money. Of course, the 3T is just a bit of an incremental upgrade over the OnePlus 3, so if you can hold off, it may be worth seeing what the OnePlus 4 looks like when it comes out, probably around the summer of 2017. So that's my longer term review of the 3T, and it's still a fantastic phone which I highly recommend. I will of course be comparing this to all the 2017 flagships when they come out, and while the Galaxy S7 is arguably a better choice considering you can get it for similar money, you could also of course go for the OnePlus 3, a slightly less powerful version of this, for 100 less. It's great that you have the option. So what do you reckon? Are you a fan of the 3T, or would you rather go for one of the proper high-end flagships, or none of the above? Perhaps you're an iPhone fan, or you think all these phones are way overpriced. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, it would be great if you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you didn't like it, but that's not very nice. And possibly even click that subscribe button because it all helps. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll catch you next time right here on the Tech Chap.